everybody, Artichoke Dip here, and it's con season, and our Motor City Comic Con has just passed. Matter of fact, today is the last day. I went on Friday. I always go on Friday because your vendors give you 20% off all items, which if you're in the market for buying, like me, it's a good deal. You're there for the celebs and to see all the costumes and to take in all the other events. Saturday and Sunday is definitely your day. But for me, it's all about the deals. So with that being said, I want to talk about the first thing on my topic and continuing with solo RPG and game systems. Now, there is a system out, and this is made by Dungeons&Dragons. And this is called the Temple of Elemental Evil. Now, this game system, I will not kid you, it is a pricey game system. I have priced it out online and I've hemmed and hawed for quite a while because it is quite costly, and then I happened to find it at the Comic Con for way less than what, even with my Amazon Prime membership, I could buy it for. Now, what is it and what's inside? Well, this is a board game slash adventure game. So you can either play the adventure scenarios or you can play it just like a board game. It's for 1 to 5 players. You get a lot of great miniatures out of this. You get your tokens to keep track of your character as they progress through levels. And right now tonight I'm going to play the 4th adventure scenario out of here. I've already completed the first 3 and I've had a lot of great fun playing it. And the other thing you get are awesome dungeon tiles. And you get very wonderful, very durable actually, cardboard dungeon tiles that are meant to be reused over and over. And I'm going to open this up so I can show you here. So as you can see, you get these very thick, it's almost like it's cardboard stocks, very thick. It has wonderful illustrations. And of course, these larger ones, you have your city encounter on one side, then your dungeon tile starts on the other side. And as I said, you get tremendous amounts of minis. And one of my favorite things out of this set is that you do get the Black Dragon, which is pretty cool on its own. I mean, it's a very cool miniature. So, but moving on, I'm kind of getting off target here. Nice thing about this is it's solo. So you can play the game completely by yourself, and since I have played, I'll be honest with you, I haven't got bored with it. The way that they have the mechanics of the system set up is it's always fresh. The dungeon's always constantly changing. With your encounter cards, as you pull them, you never know what you're going to get. And there's always spawning monsters. There's a great battle system. You're always gaining treasure, having to spend treasure, because as you find artifacts, you have to spend gold to activate those artifacts to use them again. And of course, with those artifacts, they give you bonuses on attack and defense and so on and so forth as it goes through the game system. And like I said, if you're looking for a solo system, I highly recommend this. Now, Dungeons & Dragons has put out a couple of other systems as well. There is the Temple of Elemental Evil, Castle Ravenloft, and I believe, I can't remember the third one off the top of my head. It's escaped my brain. And they're all game systems like this. You get miniatures, you get tiles. It's well worth the money. So if you've been looking at the product and you've been hemming and hawing, should I, and you enjoy solo board games, solo RPG, this is a definite yes, and it's well worth the money. You will not be dissatisfied with this system. So, moving on with our discussion here, and one of the things I wanted to cover is my name, Artichoke Dip, and I realize I have never, ever explained my name quite fully on that. And where that comes from is I was playing Dungeons & Dragons online, and I had to come up with a username. And I tried everything. Every name I could possibly think of was taken. And after 2 hours, I mean, going through source materials of D&D, Palladium Fantasy, name generators, I even downloaded an app on my phone for a name generator. They were all taken. So, in self-amusement for myself, I just typed in Artichoke Dip. And it says you are now Artichoke Dip. So, I only thought it would be fitting to name this name after my online D&D character, Artichoke Dip. So, moving on with the conversation. The new game system. Well, not new, but a newer product release. You may hear some noise here in a minute, and that's my daughter coming in the door. Adventures in Middle-earth. This unto itself is compatible with 5th edition D&D, and if you have before in the past ever checked out any Lord of the Rings or Middle-earth role-playing systems, there's some older ones out there called MERP, which is Middle-earth role-playing. It's set in the Iron Crown Enterprises percentage matrix, so it's a good source material. It's I really don't like Rollmaster. Never really gotten into Rollmaster. There's also Cubicle 7's The One Ring, which is one game I'd like to pick up, and I've heard really good reviews about that. And then, of course, there is the official Lord of the Rings game, which I have the main core rule book. I've never played it. It seems very clunky to me, and there's really, when I've asked around at local game stores and stuff like that, there's nobody there that even has a game group going for it. So it's one of those, just a source material thing. But this system right here was made for 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. Now, as you know, with Dungeons and Dragons, you can take any module, make some simple modifications, because Dungeons and Dragons is simply a cookie cutter game system. And what I mean by that is it's essentially all the same through all the editions. You look through it, you have your monster guide, you have your DM's guide, you got your player's guide. Some rules have changed, some things, I'm not going to say minuscule things, there's been major things that they have changed from edition to edition, but overall, the game system itself, you could take a 1st edition adventure module, make some modifications to it, and play 5th edition characters. We've done it before, and you can also backwards compatible. So if you play an older edition of D&D, don't let this scare you off. This is written for 5th edition because that's the current edition that's out right now. It wouldn't be very marketable to make it in 1st edition considering it's out of print. Now, $40. Now before you, let's talk about it. This is set in the dawn of the Third Age. And Bilbo had just returned to the Shire after finding the Ring of Power, and the Hobbit story has ended. And it's before the Lord of the Rings begins. Now, what's going on in Middle-earth is everybody is sensing a darkness across the land, but nobody can put their finger on it. But everybody can sense it. And that's where this story takes place. And you can make a character and adventure all across Middle-earth. Now, if you're familiar with J.R. Tolkien's world, the Middle-earth is a very vast place to adventure in. Now, the one thing it does not give you in here, and I'm sure there'll be other supplemental books for the system that'll come out, but are your encounters, such as your Orcai and your goblins and so on and so forth. But if you're using Dungeons and Dragons, which I'm sure that's what they anticipated this, you already have all those encounters in your monster manual or older editions. So, the nice thing about it is when you open it up, the art is wonderful. I love the art. I mean, the maps are beautiful. The source information, I've been thumbing through this. I mean, as you read it and the way that everything is explained, it takes you straight into Middle-earth. It has a lot of great aspects of characters, and unlike the character classes you may be accustomed to in Dungeons and Dragons, they're little bit different how they word them, but kind of the same classes. I'll make another video and get into that a little bit later, but for the simplicity of this video today, it's an introduction of new character classes, so it kind of does break the mold of the monotony of the old area fighter, paladin, magic user, sorcerer, bard. If you play D&D for any amount of time, you know what I'm talking about. So with this, highly recommend, if you are a Lord of the Rings fan, this is going to be a book you're going to want to pick up, and a book you'll have a lot of fun with. I'm looking forward to making an adventure out of this and start running it. I've had other Lord of the Rings systems that I have bought, but by far, from just the little bit that I thumbed through this is a great wealth of information. And I could tell you, probably within 6 months from now, the binder of this is going to be worn out because I will have used this so much. So, got those product reviews out of the way. Where do I rate Temple of Elemental Evil? Number 1. Lord of the Rings, well, number 1. Please like, subscribe to my channel, pass it on to your friends, what have you. I've seen some of you are making comments on the channels and and thanks and for your support and all the great feedback, and keep it on coming. And thank you for subscribing. To those of you that subscribed, it does mean a lot to me. I do have a busy schedule, and I try to make these videos when I can fit them in. I've had a nice long weekend this weekend, and of course it's the Comic-Con. I do that every year, burn up some vacation time for the Comic-Con. Alright everybody, Artichoke Dip out. I'm hoping to make some more videos here soon. If you enjoy these, please let me know. And feedback is always good and crucial when you are making any video that you're putting out on the social platform. So if you could, let me know. It'd be most helpful. And I am out.